Picture this. A demon appears to you tonight and says, "You will live this exact same life again. Every moment, every choice, every pleasure and every pain, every success and every failure, every relationship and every heartbreak. Infinite times. Nothing changes. Nothing improves. Just endless repetition of the exact life you're living right now." How would you react? Would you fall to your knees in despair? Or would you call that demon a god? Your answer reveals everything about whether your life is actually worth living. Look, I'm about to share with you the most brutal life examination ever created. Friedrich Nietzsche called it Eternal Recurrence, and it's designed to expose every lie you tell yourself about your choices, your values, your priorities. Your father didn't teach you this test because it would have forced him to examine his own life. Your teacher sure as hell didn't, because it would challenge everything they told you about success and happiness. And most men will never face this question because they're too afraid of the answer. But here's what will change everything. This isn't just philosophy. This is the ultimate reality check for whether you're living consciously or just drifting through existence. So why am I telling you this? Because once you understand eternal recurrence, you can never go back to living unconsciously. You'll either change your life or accept that you're choosing mediocrity. And mediocrity, my friend, is the one thing Nietzsche believed was truly unforgivable. The most terrifying question ever asked. Here's the first truth your father never told you. Most people are living lives they wouldn't choose to repeat once, let alone infinitely. Think about it. The average person wakes up to an alarm they resent, goes to a job they hate, comes home exhausted, distracts themselves with entertainment, goes to sleep, and repeats the cycle. Day after day, year after year. Now imagine living that exact routine forever. Every boring meeting, every unfulfilling relationship, every moment of settling for less than you deserve. On infinite repeat. That's the horror of eternal recurrence. Not that it's literally true, but that it forces you to confront whether your current life is actually worth living. Nietzsche wrote, "What if some day or night a demon were to steal after you into your loneliest loneliness and say to you, 'This life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once again and innumerable times again.'" Translation: if you had to live your exact life infinite times, would that be heaven or hell? Most people's honest answer is hell, and that should terrify you. The mediocrity test. Here's where this gets really uncomfortable. Eternal recurrence isn't just about big life decisions. It's about every small choice you make every single day. That extra hour of scrolling social media instead of working on your goals. Repeated infinitely. That conversation where you stayed quiet instead of speaking your truth. Repeated infinitely. That moment when you chose comfort over growth. Repeated infinitely. Every excuse. Every compromise. Every time you settled for good enough. All of it on eternal loop. Here's the brutal reality. Your life is made up of these small moments. And if you're not conscious about them, you're building a life you wouldn't choose to live once, let alone forever. Think about yesterday, hour by hour. How many of those hours were you truly alive, truly engaged, truly becoming the person you want to be? How many were you just killing time? Because time is the only thing you actually have. And eternal recurrence forces you to ask, are you investing it or wasting it? Why this test matters more than ever. Your father probably never faced this question because his generation had clearer paths. Work hard, get married, have kids, retire. The script was written for him. But you don't have that luxury. You have infinite choices and infinite distractions, which makes it easier than ever to drift through life without ever really living. Social media gives you the illusion of connection without real relationships. Entertainment gives you the illusion of experience without real adventure. Consumption gives you the illusion of progress without real growth. You can live an entire lifetime and never really be alive, never really choose, never really become who you're capable of being. That's why eternal recurrence is the perfect test for modern men. It cuts through all the noise and asks the only question that matters. If this life was all there is, would it be enough? The two types of men. Nietzsche believed eternal recurrence would divide humanity into two types. Type 1, the life-deniers. These men would be crushed by the thought of living their lives again. They'd realize they've been sleepwalking through existence. They've been living someone else's script, following someone else's values, avoiding the very experiences that would make them feel alive. Type 2, the life-affirmers. These men would embrace eternal repetition, not because their lives are perfect, but because they're living consciously. They're making choices aligned with their deepest values. They're becoming who they're meant to be. The difference isn't circumstances, it's consciousness. The life affirmer might have faced more pain, more failure, more difficulty, but he chose how to respond to those experiences. He used them as fuel for growth. He transformed obstacles into opportunities. The life-denier might have had every advantage, but he never really chose his life. He just reacted to it. He let circumstances and other people's expectations determine his path. The daily application. So how do you use eternal recurrence in your actual life? Here's where it gets practical. Before every major decision, ask yourself, if I had to make this choice infinitely, would I still make it? That job that pays well but slowly kills your soul, would you take it infinite times? That relationship where you're not truly yourself, would you stay in it forever? That habit that brings temporary pleasure but long-term regret, would you repeat it eternally? Before every day, ask yourself, if I had to live today exactly as I'm planning to live it infinite times, would I be satisfied? If not, change the plan. Add something meaningful. Remove something wasteful. Make at least one choice that your future self would thank you for. After every week, ask yourself, if this week repeated forever, would I feel proud of how I spend my time? If not, you know exactly what needs to change. The relationship test. Here's where eternal recurrence gets really revealing. Apply it to your relationships, your romantic relationship. If you had to experience every conversation, every conflict, every moment of connection or disconnection with this person infinitely, would you still choose them? Not, are they perfect, but is this dynamic something you could embrace forever? If you're constantly trying to change your partner or hiding parts of yourself to keep them happy, the answer is probably no. You're not in love with them. You're in love with who you hope they'll become or who you pretend to be around them. Your friendships. If you had to have the same conversations, share the same activities, navigate the same tensions with your friend group forever, would you choose these people? Real friends are people whose company you could enjoy infinitely. They bring out the best in you. They support your growth. They engage with life at the same level of consciousness you aspire to. Your family relationships. You can't choose your family, but you can choose how you engage with them. If you had to repeat every family gathering, every conversation, every boundary you set or fail to set infinitely, would you be proud of your approach? The career reality check. Most men spend more waking hours at work than anywhere else. So eternal recurrence has serious implications for your career. If you had to do your current job infinite times, would you choose it? Not just for the money, but for the actual work. The daily tasks, the people you work with, the problems you solve, the person you become by doing this work. If the answer is no, you're not building a career. You're trading your life for money. You're choosing security over growth, comfort over fulfillment. But here's the twist. Eternal recurrence doesn't mean your work has to be your passion. It means you have to find a way to approach whatever work you do with excellence, growth, and purpose. The man who can embrace infinite repetition isn't necessarily doing his dream job. He's bringing his best self to whatever job he's doing while building towards something better. The growth paradox. Here's something that confuses people about eternal recurrence. How can you embrace infinite repetition if you want to grow and change? Nietzsche's answer: you embrace the struggle itself, the process of becoming, the challenge of continuous improvement. It's not that your life stays exactly the same. It's that you choose lives that include growth, challenge, and the pursuit of excellence. The man who can say yes to eternal recurrence is saying, yes, I choose the difficulty of building something meaningful. Yes, I choose the pain that comes with loving deeply. Yes, I choose the uncertainty that comes with pursuing my potential. He's not choosing comfort. He's choosing consciousness, the ultimate freedom test. But here's where eternal recurrence becomes the ultimate test of freedom. It reveals whether you're living your life or just reacting to it. Most people are unconscious. They wake up and react to whatever happens. They make decisions based on immediate emotions, social pressure, or inherited beliefs they've never examined. Eternal recurrence forces consciousness. It makes you ask, am I choosing this, or is this just happening to me? The free man can embrace repetition because he's living consciously. Every choice is deliberate. Every day is chosen. Every relationship is intentional. The unfree man is terrified of repetition because he's not really living. He's just drifting through experiences he never chose, following scripts he never wrote, becoming someone he never intended to be. The fear behind the fear. Here's what most people are really afraid of when they think about eternal recurrence. They're afraid they've wasted their life. All those years following other people's expectations. All those dreams they gave up without really trying. All those moments when they chose safety over authenticity. The fear isn't that they'd have to repeat their failures. The fear is that they'd have to repeat their regrets. But here's what Nietzsche understood. Regret is just information. It's your inner wisdom telling you that you made a choice that wasn't aligned with your deepest values. The man who can embrace eternal recurrence has processed his regrets. He's learned from them. He's made different choices going forward. He doesn't need a perfect past to choose a conscious future. Your reality check. So here's your reality check. Right now, as you're living it, would you choose your life infinite times? Not someday, when you get the promotion, find a perfect relationship, lose the weight, make more money. Right now, today, this week, this year. If the answer is no, you have two choices. Choice 1. Change your life. Make different decisions. Pursue different goals. Build different relationships. Create a life you could embrace infinitely. Choice 2. Change your perspective. Find meaning in your current circumstances. Approach your existing responsibilities with excellence. Choose growth within your current situation while building towards something better. Either choice requires consciousness. Either choice requires taking responsibility for your own experience. The only unacceptable choice is staying unconscious. Drifting through days you wouldn't choose to repeat. Living someone else's life while your own potential dies unused. Here's the question that changes everything. What would you need to change about your life to say yes to infinite repetition? Not perfect repetition, not easy repetition, but conscious repetition, meaningful repetition, the kind of life where even the struggles serve something greater than themselves. Maybe you need to have honest conversations you've been avoiding. Maybe you need to pursue goals you've been postponing. Maybe you need to end relationships that drain your energy. Maybe you need to start relationships that inspire your growth. Maybe you need to take risks you've been too afraid to take. The beautiful thing about eternal recurrence, it doesn't require you to be perfect. It requires you to be conscious. When Nietzsche imagined someone who could truly embrace eternal recurrence, he described them as saying, "You are a god, and never have I heard anything more godlike." Not because their life was easy, but because they were living it consciously. They were choosing their experience instead of just enduring it. They were creating meaning instead of waiting for it to be handed to them. That's the ultimate yes to life. Not just accepting what happens to you, but choosing what you create with what happens to you. It's saying yes to growth through difficulty. Yes to love despite the risk of loss. Yes to pursuing your potential despite the possibility of failure. Yes to becoming who you're meant to be, even if the process is uncomfortable. So what are you going to do with this knowledge? You can keep living unconsciously, drifting through days you wouldn't choose to repeat, building a life that would terrify you if you had to live it infinitely. Or you can start living like every choice matters, like every day is being chosen, not just endured, like every moment is an opportunity to become more aligned with your deepest values. Here's what eternal recurrence teaches you. You don't need more time. You need more consciousness. You don't need different circumstances. You need different choices within your circumstances. The question isn't whether you'll face difficulty, pain, or uncertainty. You will. The question is, Will you face them consciously or unconsciously? Will you choose your struggles or just endure them? Will you create meaning from your challenges or just survive them? Will you become stronger through your experiences or just older? Because once you understand that this might be the only life you get, you realize something incredible. Every moment is an opportunity to choose who you become. Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect. Right now, the demon is asking you the question, would you live this life again? Your answer determines everything. Not just how you feel about your past, but how you choose your future. The choice, as always, is yours. If this question shook something loose in your soul, if you felt that recognition of your own unconscious living, subscribe right now. Because next week, I'm going to show you Nietzsche's final concept, beyond good and evil. How to think like a philosopher and make decisions that serve your highest potential instead of society's lowest expectations. This isn't self-help. This is the mental framework that separates men who create their own reality from men who accept whatever reality is handed to them. Don't miss it. Your consciousness depends on it.